And so I recognized that whatever I needed from God, whatever my expectation was, he knew it more than I did.
That's
And
right.
so I could rest my list and I could trust God.
Mm.
And so that's where my journey began, in waiting on God. And so I was trusting God. And but what I knew about my journey was that it was not going to be easy.
Mm.
And I knew it wasn't going to be easy because I am very picky. And I knew that if I wanted, I had options. So let's not mistake it now. There were options, right? But I knew that if I wanted what God had for me, I had to move differently.
Mm.
That I was going to have to stretch beyond this, how things were done normally.
Mm.
I knew that I was going to have to wait, and I knew I was going to have to trust. Those were two things that I knew. I knew that I knew I was going against the norm. And I could tell I was, because every person that was approaching it was a no, 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 no.
It was a no, no, baby.
No, no. And I was not willing to compromise.
Mm.
And so me and God go on this journey of waiting on God, trusting God for marriage. And then I meet my husband.
Mm-hmm.
And when I met him, our connection was beautiful. We talked for hours, and it was just different. And I just knew. And I knew because it was nothing like I had experienced before. And it was so different from what I had known and what I had experienced and what I had seen. So I remember going into my quiet place and asking God. I was like, him and I stopped talking for a little bit because he wasn't, that's a whole different conversation. He wasn't very upfront with me. I was supposed to assume he was in love with me, but he didn't even say anything.
You have to throw me under the
Sorry,
bus.
but I just have to tell the story because it doesn't sound right if I don't tell the whole thing. So, so he wasn't very upfront, and I knew he was different because there were so many things he didn't share about me. Share about himself that I had later found out, and I recognized that it was because he just wanted me to know him for who he was, which I adored him for that. But because he was not forthcoming, I was like, listen, a girl's waiting on God. I can't. So we're just gonna keep trusting and we're gonna keep praying. So we stopped talking, but the thoughts of him kept coming up. And so I went to God and I said, Lord, I don't know what it is, but your expectation, you know what you're doing for me, and I just want what you want. And so, Lord, if this is who you have called, I'm willing to wait and I'm willing to trust you. And in that moment, there was just this peace that came over me, and there was just this knowing. And I said, Lord, if this is from you, I'm willing to wait and I'm willing to trust you. Now, what ended up happening was what always happens when you're pursuing the things of God. It was opposition, it was obstacles. And I knew that I wasn't the ideal person.
Mm-hmm. You were ideal.
I mean, I'm ideal.
You ideal.
I'm ideal. But it was the culture difference, right? I was born and raised here. He was fully, born and raised in Ghana back home. And it was just a concern that is this who will be right for you? And which is normal, right? And so, but there was something that despite the opposition, despite the questions and the doubts that he had, and just the opposition, I'll say that, there was an inner knowing that, God, this is who you said my husband is. And so, Lord, I trust you. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what anyone does. My eyes are set on you. Until you tell me that I should look somewhere else. My hope and my confidence is in you.
It's in you, yes, Lord.
Then girls will start having random dreams. Oh, I saw us, we were married, and this pastor and this apostle and this person and this person. I mean, giving vivid dreams of their wedding day.
With your future husband?
With my future husband.
Oh my God.
And what God would do is he would tell me before it would happen.
Mhm.
So then I would ask him, did this happen? And he'll say yes. And I'm like, God told me that. I would have a dream and God would show me something in my dreams. And I'm like, is this and this and this happening? He was like, yes, it is. And I'll just go and I say, God, this is what your word says to me.
Mm.
And I am convinced that you are going to show yourself faithful. I know that when something is good, the enemy's going to always pull his moves, but I trust you.
Mm.
My covenant is with you. Now, it no longer became an issue between, oh, I want him so much. It was, no, this is what God said.
Yes.
I am convinced by that.
Yes.
And the only thing that could convince me that it wasn't him was God.
Mm.
And even when he got to a point where he's like, you know, at this, I really, like, I love you, you're everything, but this is a huge situation for me. I was like, listen, I'm not even listening to you. Like, you can say whatever you want. I am not listening to you. I'm trusting God.
Trusting in God.
And I was like, Lord, I will not let my destiny escape me.
Mm-hmm.
It hadn't, and it wasn't about anything but that.
Yes, Lord.
And I was convinced was that you got to believe God.
That's right.
Let God be true
Mm.
and every man a liar.
Mm.